There he is.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Not too bad.
Yeah, busy morning out at the course.
Yeah, I've been a busy week here. We got hot weather, 100% humidity. It's just been kind of nonstop.
I hear you. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm also fighting a wicked sty right now. I don't know if you can see that in my eye or not, but oh man.
I vaguely see it. That's
Yeah.
funny. My wife's got one too. She's been fighting.
Yeah, it's my good eye too, so it's like not
Yeah.
good.
No, no, that
No,
sucks,
but
man.
that's one of those things, long way from the heart, so we're all right.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. So
We
tell
had
me
our
about this golf day that you had up there.
Yeah, we did our OVTA, Ottawa Valley Turfgrass Association, did their summer field day. So they always do a tournament in the summer and then a bigger one in the fall, kind of for the research foundation. But yeah, they move it around every year, different courses. So we actually went out to Smiths Falls, Golf and Country Club, which is the home of Brooke Henderson. So there's
Oh, nice.
lots of stuff there for her, and people were telling stories about her hitting balls in the rain when everyone else is gone and stuff like that. So, I think she plays a little bit more of her golf at the Hunt Club and some of those other places now. But it was cool to kind of go to a place that she kind of put on the map.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
but
Good turnout.
it was great. Yeah, it was great to see everybody from the area. It's a fun day because it's a lot of stress for the person putting it on. I was out
Oh
there
yeah.
early with the crew and the assistant and the superintendent and stuff, and they're all stressed out about everything and all the guys coming to see it. And this is the biggest tournament of the year and stuff, and which is great. But then everybody shows up and nobody cares, right? We're just happy to
No.
be together and play golf, and there shouldn't be too much stress with that, although there is. But it was a great
Always.
day. We had a lot of fun. We were going for the title too, so we were 9 under on the last hole, and there was a couple other groups out there with us that were also like 8, 9 under, and we were playing a par five, and I ended up hitting a 3 wood from the fairway about 260 to 15 feet on the green. So we made the putt and headed to the clubhouse thinking we were going to win the whole thing, and they announced the winners, and with a score of 14 under, we're like,
Oh, you got
whoa,
pencil whipped.
whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played well. There were some tough pins and stuff like that, but we thought we had it in the bag. And yeah, there's always somebody out there. There's always somebody.
It's crazy how low some of these scores get in scrambles. They're fun though. I love
Hmm.
scrambles.
Oh,
I'd
it's
almost prefer
great.
playing a scramble than playing my own ball these days.
Yeah, no, there's no pressure,
So
lots
much,
of fun,
yeah,
and everybody's picking each other up, playing from the whites, so we're just bombing the ball all over the course and stuff. Like
yeah,
just a great day to see everybody kind of reset, talk about things. I talked to some suppliers about different things, and got to talk to some different superintendents I haven't seen in a while. So it's those events are so great, and
yeah.
sometimes they charge a lot for them because you get a lot out of it, and you're providing to the association, so it can be a little expensive. But reach out to your golf course and see if they'll help you with things like that, because if it's a money thing or if it's an availability thing, your course should help you get to those things, because it's such good education and such good networking for your own course.
No, absolutely. It's the best thing around for networking on a local basis. I mean, that's yeah, a lot of great relationships formed at local chapter events.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I'd say it was the first time I went to something like this. There's always
Yeah,
5 or 6 people that'll talk to you about Turf Today and the show and stuff like that. But I had a lot of people coming up to me, thanking us for putting the show on, talking about, how you've changed the show a lot, how that there's a lot more education on the show with the USGA stuff, Ask the Agronomist, all the advice we hear from the turf professionals and superintendents and stuff. So, sometimes I feel like, is this really going to make it? Do we keep working at this? Is this going? And then when you have a day like that and you hear all those comments, it's like, okay, we're doing what we should be doing, and we just got to keep it going. So it's a very motivating days to have.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always a great reminder when you get out and talk to people and hear some of the feedback from those out there in the field. So good. Glad you had a good day. So in other golf news though, what's your I want to hear your comments on that big golf fight that happened with that NHL enforcer
How
that took that guy
incredible
down.
was that? How incredible was that?
I was on a plane when I was watching it, so I didn't get to have the audio on, but good God.
Incredible. So we've always been taught to leave the big boys alone. When you got a guy that size and he's telling you you don't want this, leave that guy alone. Because usually, like I've my experience with fighters in hockey, nicest guys off the ice, nicest
Yeah.
guys, warm spirit will be your best friend. But when they snap and things go south, get the fuck out of the way. Like that, he picked that guy up and threw him like it was a bag of ice. Like he was trying to crack a bag of ice on the ground. Like that guy slid into the water. I think my favorite line though was when he first pushed him into the pond, and his buddy in the background yells, "Off to a great start, buddy."
I need to watch it again with the audio.
Oh my gosh, man, it's incredible. And then I guess he posted a selfie like 2 days ago, and he sent it to all his buddies, and he's like, "Oh, just a little black eye, no big deal." It's like
Yeah, right,
you
right.
got handled on the golf course, friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of comments up here just about it being like that's a Canadian fight. You know, nobody else gets involved. It's just the two guys. The other friends being like, "No, he's leave him alone," and all that stuff. Like, it was a very polite fight because it could have gone south.
It's funny. Good morning. Well, welcome to the show, Scott. Appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, long time coming. I think I asked you 2 years ago when we first met. You were kind of like, "What do you do? What is this show? What's going on?" So,
Well, even my wife knows about this site on Instagram. I mean, she even knows about you guys, which is funny. So she always shows
That's
me all of
awesome.
your videos that you guys do. I'm not a big social media guy. I try my best with Twitter. Instagram's kind of confusing for me, but my kids like it, and my one son's in the business, so he's all over this website as well. So.
oh, that's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Well, I know Scott, when we met a couple years ago in Orlando, that was my first time going to the GCSAA, and Turf Today was very new, so it was kind of like, what's this going to be like? What's the reception going to kind of be like to what I'm doing? And it was minimal. There weren't a lot of people talking about it or asking about it, and I was feeling a little unmotivated. And I spent 2 days with you on the golf course, 2 rounds, and it was two of the greatest days of my life, man. Like those rounds of golf, I learned so much. I was so motivated to get to meet a high-end superintendent and talk about, big golf courses in the States and internships and all the different things. And I remember going home being so, so motivated. So from us, from all this community and everything, thank you so much for that, Scott, because it's really pulled it along. And then now we have you on the show. So I'm very grateful to get to talk to you today.
Well, that means a lot. I didn't know I had that impact. That's great. I'm passionate about this industry. I'm getting up there in age, but I wish I still was, 35 years old because I think our best days are coming. So I love it. I love meeting people, and it was a great round with you. Good 2 rounds with you. It was fun. So.
So, Scott, for those of our listeners and viewers that aren't familiar with you, if you could go ahead and just give us a brief introduction of yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, so actually, it's funny. In the last year since Solheim Cup, I've never done a podcast, and now I think this is my third or fourth. I can't remember how many.
It's getting
Making
popular.
the media rounds
I
now.
guess so. I guess so. And no
You need
one's
an
watching.
agent?
No one's watching though. I don't. No one tells me like, "Hey, I saw it." Hopefully now people will see it. But I started in the it to be. I started my career as a teacher. In my whole family, and I've said this before. I grew up in a family of teachers. My mother was a teacher. All my family, my mother's side of the family was all teachers. So every Thanksgiving we're talking about teaching. So I felt like, hey, that's what I got to do. I got to get into teaching. So that's what I started with. But I worked at a place called Cedar Crest down the road as I was going through Old Dominion to get my degree, and worked there for 2 years under Steve Cahoon. Had a great time. A lot of goofing off, but work too as well. Made it fun. I was like, this is cool. This is great. And then, lo and behold, I just stumbled across this place through a friend that was going to school at Old Dominion as well. He started the caddy program here. He said, "You got to see this place, Robert Trent Jones Golf Club," and this was in 1994. So I basically said, all right, well, I ran into Glenn Smickley, who's been just great for so many people in this industry. He's now a GM, so he's not producing superintendents anymore. But got a good friendship with him right away, felt comfortable with him, and started working here. And the funny thing is that guy, John Coleman, that told me to come here is our current president at Robert Trent Jones Golf Club. So he was an
Oh,
employee,
wow.
turned member. He's the reason we got the Solheim Cup. He's the reason why we did the live event. He's the one that was able to get these people interested in Robert Trent Jones and hosting events. And so anyway, that kind of got me involved back in 1994. And everyone kept saying, "Man, you're good at this. You should." They put me on spraying. They put me on all these different jobs. I enjoyed it. I love teaching and I love coaching. I was an elementary teacher and a football coach. Did some basketball coaching as well. And I don't know, it just kept drawing me towards this, and I made the tough decision that was difficult on my wife as well. She just gone through me going through college to go back to college. So I wanted to go to Penn State, but I was taking too much time away from her. So I decided to enroll into Maryland, which I loved. Len Bias basketball back in the day. Went to a lot of games. Lefty Drizel, his son Chuck Drizel is a good friend of mine. So I always loved Maryland basketball, Penn State football. So I got the best of both worlds. I go to Penn State football, go to Maryland basketball. Anyway, got my degree, and this was in the right place at the right time through hard work. Got promoted up from assistant to Glenn moved to become the GM here, and we had a great 10 years as Kerry Shore as the pro. It was, they call us the Three Amigos. We were like a dream team. It just felt like, I wouldn't say dream team, that sounds cocky. It was just more, we got along so well. Every department got along so well. And so I was able to become superintendent in 2000, and that was the President's Cup year. So my first year hosted the President's Cup.
Wow.
And then off and running from there. Just, stories after story after story. Been here. I'm kind of a unicorn. They haven't fired me yet, which is great. I still have a seat here. I always say that if they do fire me, I'll pull the George Costanza and just go back to work the next day and pretend like it never happened. So.
Yeah.
I love it. So does it sometimes still feel like you're teaching elementary kids out there?
Well, you know what? It's great because that right there really did help me. Look, I've always been a teacher. Like someone, I did one podcast, was politics and golf or something like that. It was one of our members right before the live event, and they said the one question was, "What would you do if you weren't doing this?" And I'd be teaching, and I'd be coaching, and I did coach all my kids. I have 4 kids. I coached them in every sport that they wanted to play. Introduced them to every sport. Just wanted to introduce them to and see if they liked it. If they like it, we stay with it. If they didn't like it, we find another sport. But so I was able to do that. I got my fix on that. I love doing that. But yes, I think that helps because and it's really teaching my assistants to teach others, right? And I'm teaching at all times. I just showed one of our interns how to turn better on mowing greens the other day. The old guy still has it. I can still turn a mower pretty good, still look coordinated. So yeah, I think it's the one thing that's really helped me because I think I interact with youth well, younger people well. Yeah, is it sometimes a tough conversation? Yeah, I'm not a screamer, I'm not that, but we have standards here, and I push them on a daily basis. Sometimes we can't reach that because of environmental factors. Right now, we're going through like the craziest summer we've had in a long time. So there's, the pressure's up, but everyone's reacting well and moving well and doing things they need to do. But it's constantly getting them going. And it's not, every day having a motivational speech down there. That's not what it's all about. It's the quick ins and outs and the short conversations that you have with these guys to kind of just keep them motivated or keep them going forward and joke with them to make sure they feel comfortable and part of the family. And yes, so the answer is yeah, it really is. It's very helpful. And I think that's why I'm decent at my job is because of that.
Turf Today is brought to you by Toro. Water. It's the lifeblood of the game. The unseen force that transforms fairways into carpets, greens into glass, and roughs into playable ground. But water alone isn't enough. It takes precision, control, and innovation to deliver it exactly where it belongs. That's where Toro Irrigation stands apart. From cutting-edge sprinklers to intelligent control systems, Toro brings superintendents the power to master water like never before. Reliable, efficient, unmatched. Because every drop matters, every swing deserves perfection, and every course deserves the best. Toro, always solving, always evolving. Right on. So talk to us about your internship program because you definitely have one of the best ones. And something that always stands out to me is, you putting some light on the fact that you guys are actually really taking care of guys. You're posting videos of what their accommodations are going to look like and your shop and stuff like that. So you're really, putting it out there to the individuals and showing them what it's going to be like to come to your course.
Yeah, so it's funny. One of my assistants, Cooper Dirks, he's a great assistant. He had the old apartment, and I somehow brokered a deal because they had a little leak in the garbage disposal to get it all redone. He's like, good Lord. I mean, he lived like in a really not a rat infested, apartment to now this beautiful apartment. And we invested the money, and that's the video on there. I had fun with my wife and my daughter, who's an interior designer, to create what we have there and a comfortable environment, because a lot of these people are coming here. There's no secret to it. I think it's just treating people like humans, right? Have a competitive atmosphere, but don't have it too competitive to where people are trying to step on top of each other. I always say, hey, look, if you're trying to, verbally or behind the scenes, hurt someone's image here with me or with the assistant so that you get a step up and do more jobs, I said, you're going to get the exact opposite out of me. We're not here to test people, to expose people, to see how bad they are. We're here to help people and teach people so that they feel more confident going forward. That's what I preach. That's the first conversation I have with them here. Talk about the importance. Yeah, we're not the Augustas of the world. We're not the Seminoles. We're not at Oakmont, but we're a really, really high end golf club that has high standards with a great membership, with a lot of who's who that are members at all those clubs. And we have a big property. Okay, so how do we get through a tough summer? I always tell them that the summers here in DC. No offense to anybody anywhere else, because they have their own struggles, and those are their struggles. Is that it's always been said by the USGA, that late great Stan Zontek, to anybody else basically in this industry, if you can grow grass in DC, you can grow grass anywhere. So with that, there's a lot of pain. Some years are easier than others. Some years are very difficult. There's some things that you feel like you're doing right, but you're getting wrong. So it's talking to these guys, getting them part of the process, right? Having them do all the stuff that they want to do. Like I was just with them. We take care of a little property up in DC. We mow a green up there. If you can put two and two together. I just put for the interns there. We're very blessed to be able to go there, 4 or 5 times a day, or 4 or 5 times a year. And they're at the most important green in basically the world. You can argue that, maybe, I guess. But,
the highest expectations in the world right
yeah,
there.
yeah. And we were talking, we got to sit in traffic and just talk about what they've done, what they need to do, what they still need to do. I want them to feel comfortable. We don't want to expose what they can't do. We want to make them better at what they can't do so they feel confident. So when they go to that next position, they're looking to be an assistant and a superintendent. Can you spray greens? Yep, I can spray greens. Can you roll? Yep, I can roll. Can you set up? And why and how much they've done it. We go through the Mike O'Keefe J1 program. We have 2 of them this year. Fantastic. We can talk about them here in a minute. We got 4 Americans, which we're full. It's been very difficult. A lot of people are spending a lot of money on recruiting, and flying people in and doing interviews, and we're trying not to do that. I mean, we want to get 4 of the good people, or I would say 4 to 6. The best people we could find. But anyway, a few years back, had a guy that was from Ireland that it was a rainy day. He was coming. I was in writing on the board, what we're going to spray for the next day. And he comes in and says, hey, I just want to let you know, I don't need to spray. I'm really nervous about spraying, and I'm not going to, just know let someone else spray. And I said, listen, that's nice that you said that. And I thank you for saying that, but you're going to be on the sprayer until you feel comfortable. And I'll walk you through that and make sure that you feel comfortable. I know that you don't want to mess things up. This was before GPS. So, I mean, there was a lot of risk, right? And so,
Yeah.
and GPS has basically been around for 5 or 6 years, at this level now. But anyway, he became a great sprayer within a short period of time and thanked me. Mike O'Keefe still tells a story how this guy was so pumped up. And by the end of that, he could go anywhere he wanted and spray and feel comfortable. And that's what we're trying to do. And, we send them away to tournaments. We're lucky to have friends at Oakmont, at Shinnecock, and all these other different places, Aronimink next year, to send our guys to volunteer there. And they've been kind enough for our tournaments, when we do have one, to send their interns here. So
That's Mike O'Keefe has a lot of stories to tell. So that's
just
really good. The international stuff. Aside from the the housing and whatnot for interns, obviously your golf course is an area that's got a very high cost of living. How do you bring in, whether it's just general staff members, assistants, and all that? How are you able to bring people in with that high cost of living in the area?
Yeah, so and this is recession proof to some degree, because we got a lot of government employees here. So even the housing fall hurt us, but didn't hurt us as much as other places. So we're very fortunate there. So right now we have intern housing we pay for 6 months out of the year. It stays vacant. I mean, it literally stays vacant. There's talk about maybe buying something at some point, but the club has supported this internship, whether we have pro interns or turf interns. They've supported it. We put it in the budget a long time ago, and it's been able. And you know what? It's a 3 bedroom, so sometimes they're bumping up together. Not everyone has their own room. We have no on housing, on campus housing here, unfortunately. The assistants, 3 years ago, I think we got the note and rental lease for a house, so that and it's affordable. So we found a good place. We put 5 to 6 guys in there, where it's 3 assistant pros and 3 assistant superintendents. That's turned out to be a nice little bachelor pad for those guys. They've really enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
there's no fun going on over there.
They're having a great time. And we're talked about, with the GM, I've talked about reducing that even more to make it even more affordable. So just to give you an idea, right now they're paying about $600 a month, and they got a beautiful 5-acre property, everything they want. We're trying to reduce that even more. And they're short one person. So if they had another person, it'd be around $500 a month. So we're hoping to get it down to 350, 400. So it makes it even easier. And what that allows is what I'm looking for, and hopefully we get the guys through the farm system, which is our internship. That's what we want. That we're more successful when we do that. And every club is, right? Because they know me, they know the club, they know everything, they know what to expect, they know what to make me happy, make the club happy. And sometimes we don't do that because we have all these J1s that go back home and we can't get them over here. So we've struggled there, but this allows them to not have to look for anything, and they can just jump right in. We got a spot. Here you go. We have a bed for you. Everything's furnished, and that solves the assistance. Now, as far as local labor, it's virtually impossible. We recruit. We put out ads. We do everything, and we have to because we're on the H-2B program. And so I've been on the H-2B program since 2005. We haven't gotten them a few years. And by the way, you feel like you're going to get fired at any moment because you just can't get the jobs done. We've had to use outside contractors to rate bunkers. I step it up even more. No one's going to believe this on this telecast here, but I mow. I had to mow and had to do whatever it took to get us, to the finish line. But so I have H-2B, and I have some green cards. They've gone back because they've been frustrated with the H-2B and gotten some green cards. So I now have 3, maybe 4 next year. So we have that crew is around 20 to 24, depending on who comes, who does it. Right, this year we have 22. And then, we have our interns, which we really recruit. And we got 2 from Roy Georgetown this year with Granger, which is great. We got 1 from Delaware Valley, which is our first. And he's a Philly boy. And oh my God, he just doesn't shut up about Philadelphia. And I'm a Redskins fan. Well, I'm sorry, Redskins fan. I'm a Redskins fan and hate everything Philly. And then we have 2 J1s, but that helps with Mike O'Keefe. And then we have our full-time guys. We that are local, and we really do go down to the skeleton crew during the summer. We are with 2 mechanics, 3 assistants, myself, and laborers, or just staff, full-time staff. We're at like 11, 12 during the winter. So we go to a skeleton crew and really can't do much December, January, February, but our H-2B's guys get here in sometime in March, and we're off and running. So
we got to back up a little bit here. You were talking about a pretty famous green in the States. Are you able to dig into that a little bit? Tell us any funny stories?
No, I can't. I wish. Can't do that. It's a famous green. I haven't said anything that get me in trouble. So, but there is a green there, and it is a cool place to showcase your interns and bring in there. So it's really cool.
You would think with some of those connections you'd be at like 40 H-2Bs. You should always be full with H-2Bs. So you mentioned kind of your staff setup. Do you then kind of default to all full-time people versus bringing in some part-timers over the summer? Are you just not able to bring in part-timers?
So the part-timers I bring, minus the H-2B guys, right? Yeah. We get a few high school kids, college kids, local kids, and for a while there, I would never turn anybody away. I was coach, so I mean, at one point we didn't have our H-2B. I had 17 or 18 kids working here, high school kids that I all coached. I knew every one of them. I knew their families. And it was a disaster because they were kids. They just
Yeah.
up in carts nonstop, doing donuts on the phone all the time. It was a mess, but they got us through the year. They raked bunkers and they mowed greens. And if we didn't have them, we couldn't have got through that year without the H2B. So we've tried to flip the H2B. I don't want to because these guys have been with me for so long. They're like family to me. We joke around, have a great time. We do cookouts and all that stuff, but it's I can't get it to flip. So it's not like I can go year round full time like some clubs. Get closer to DC, more population, more people walking through the door. But we work through Brentsville High School that has an agronomy program there.
Yeah.
And so most of those guys go to Virginia Tech. We currently have one student right now with us. He's 16, I think. So we got another Virginia Tech that's going to start Virginia Tech turf next year. So we do hire, locally, but it's only 2.5, 3 months max is what it is.
So when you get those young kids coming in, are you really pushing them to go to school?
No, well, the good thing is we get the best of the best because they're already in an agronomy program. The high school kids, there's a lot of assistants that I had and then moved on to be superintendents that were just summer help, right? You know, if they show interest, yes, that's when I really push it. We just want to, and the big thing that I talk, and some assistants get it better than others, is you got to have a variety. You can't rake bunkers for every day of the week for the whole summer and think this is a great job, right? Yeah, that's part of presenting a golf course, but they have to mix it up. Like I just asked Devin, I think he's 15 actually. He's 15, can't start till 7 o'clock, right? I saw him in the bunkers the other day. Went up to him, I said, "Hey, you doing okay? Everything's going well." I said, "Have you walked mowing?" He goes, "Yep." They took me to a nursery green. I started walk mowing and learning that. So there, you get variety. Get them to sit their butt in a seat, on a mower. That's heaven right there, man. That's the best thing they could ever do, right? Everyone wants to mow fairways. Um, but yeah, and if you can do that, then you can keep a kid, and that's how I got involved, right? That's how most of us got involved. You just didn't go in there one day and say, "All right, well, I want to be a golf course superintendent," because you worked on the golf course, you enjoyed being outside, you enjoyed the challenges of why is this dying, why does this look good, or the greens are super quick or super slow. What's this, and then all the different things around it and the science behind it, you sort of start falling in love with, and that's what it takes. I mean, this is, and I don't think there's any, there might be good superintendents that just said, "Hey, I haven't worked on a golf course. Let's go and figure out and be a superintendent." There's not many of them. They all have to work on a golf course and see what it's like. Because, by the way, there's a lot of people say you have to go through so much sweat and hard work to get there. And it's not for everyone. It really isn't.
You mentioned earlier about training your assistants to teach the staff members coming in. How critical, or how do you go about instilling, as Jocko Willink likes to call it, the decentralized command? You can only manage 6 to 10 people, and you've got a staff of, whatever, 30, 40 people out there. What's that process of, or how do you go about, or how important is that decentralized command to make sure that your assistants can then manage all the other pieces out on the property?
So I do section management, not true section management. They move or through the whole golf course. But after morning jobs and detail jobs, which could be hand watering, it could be edging, it could be doing little projects, they go into their sections. So they have their own interns and they have their own staff, right? The big thing is so that kind of makes it smaller if they're overwhelmed by teaching, because some people don't like to teach. Some people have, they're nervous to talk to people, right? I mean, look, you're never going to get anywhere if you're nervous to talk to anybody. And you got to learn how to talk to people and sell yourself to get a job, right? We talk about that all the time. But I always also tell the assistants are in the room, the interns are in the room, and I go through the process and said, "Look, you as interns are learning, and you should be shadowing and asking questions and doing all this stuff to become them. That's what you're working on becoming." I said, "The assistants are trying to watch what I do what I do, think like I do, predict the future, when the disease outbreak might be, or when we might start, having to hand water, when we might need to punt and raise heights, all those things. You got to start forecasting and guessing. You got this sixth sense that happens all the time." And then I said, and they're also trying, what the big goal is as a superintendent is I am trying to think like a golfer. What does a golfer want to look at? What does a golfer want to play? How does a golfer want the presentation to be every day? Is every rope line that we have to protect something crooked? Or does someone that was the last man standing going through, we call it last man standing, is he checking all that stuff? I mean, I got a radio I just had turned up, unfortunately. Sorry about that. And turn it down. I'm on that thing all the time, like, hey, this rope line's not straight. This is not straight. So what is it? What does the golfer want to see? And the first golfer wants to see the purest golf course, the best lines, the best rate bunkers that you can present. Everything else gets boogered up after that, right? There's people that step on rope lines, people that don't care. But we keep checking that through the day. But the goal is, and I said from all the way from the intern, is if you start thinking like a golfer, what does a golfer want to look at? Okay, let's say you have a damaged area on the green. Okay, do we put the pin there on the damaged area on the green, or do we just push it to the other side because then it presents better and they don't see that damage area? We just talked about this morning. We're going through tons of moss right now because it's been raining nonstop. I mean, I don't think you can get rid of moss. We've sprayed Quicksilver all the time. It's there forever, it seems like. Well, we got a spot on number 6. It looks like it's dead now, turned black, but it's going to turn green again. We don't keep on it. And it looks kind of thin over there, but it's moss. The putt's fine. It's not a divot. It's nothing back there. So, guys, let's move it over here because we're still trying to fight the moss. I mean, the moss is, increased by 50% wherever it's been. So it's all about the presentation. And once you start figuring that out and understanding what that is, then now you're making the golfer happy, which then, guess what? You're happy, everyone's happy, and the world's happy.
So do you yourself or your staff get out to play the course to kind of see that golfer side of things?
I hate playing this golf course. I love
as you sit there with your golf clubs right behind you, over your shoulder.
I love playing golf. I'm not a good golfer right now. I'm working on a couple of TikTok moves that I saw.
Oh boy,
got me a little bit better, but I love the game of golf. We go away, play it, in the classic every year. And now we do this north versus south with the New York crowd. Rabideau and I set it up from Winged Foot, so they're kicking our ass every year because it's so easy to take care of grass where Rabideau's at that he can play golf all the time. We got to work down here. That's what
Steve probably puts that on his application or as his requirements. You got to be at least a 5 handicap or something.
I kill him. He goes, how can you guys be that bad at golfers down? I'm like, because we work. So it's a big standing joke between back and forth, and I know how hard he works, but trust me. But so yes, the interns played yesterday. I want the assistants to play, to go see it and enjoy the game of golf. There's a lot of superintendents out there who don't play golf that are great at this job, right? I think some of your better ones and some of your best understand the game of golf, why the greens need to roll the way they should roll, or what you want out of fairways. I think it's helpful to play golf. I love this golf course. I'm in love with this golf course, been in love with this golf course since the day I stepped on property, and nothing's changed for me. It's the same. It's the same feeling I have driving around, looking, all that kind of stuff. But playing the golf course is, most golfers, you want to look at the horizon, right? You just want to play golf and enjoy the surrounds. Well, my neck is always looking down, and that's the way superintendents are on their golf course. I go play somewhere else. I don't look down. You just play golf, right? And people are like, hey, do you see that problem I'm having? No, I didn't see anything. I just play golf. So the problem is playing this golf course is tough because you can't relax. You're always picking. It's weed season now. Whether you got goosegrass playing here, or crabgrass playing here, or nutsheds playing here, I'm always constantly picking it because I can't drive by anything. So play golf. Oh my God, and everyone knows it here and they laugh about it. I've played here probably 3 times this year, and they all joke, will you play? I'm like, okay, I'll play, but not now, not right now, not in the middle of summer. So.
Yeah. You better have 3 shirts to change and while you're out on the golf course right now. It's hot and humid. You talked about Glenn Smickley earlier and kind of his leadership and mentorship. What are some of the big lessons that you learned from Glenn and some of the other mentors you've had along the way?
So Glenn always had a relaxed atmosphere. He was a great people person, the nicest guy you would ever meet. With him, it was, he always worked hard, but didn't take himself seriously. And that's the way I've always been. I think that's why we hit it off. There's times you got to take yourself seriously, trust me. But, it's not play hard all the time. It's not all that stuff. It's just have a good time, enjoy life. Yeah, sometimes it sucks, but guess what? Next day, we're going to do it again. We're going to go after it. No one's trying to kill grass. no one's trying to make any grass look bad. No one's doing that. No, so when stuff happens, it's, you can't beat yourself up too much. He always had the positive. Like I remember one time I brought him out, he was a GM. I'm like, hey, I need you to look at number one green. Number one green was a problem child for him his whole entire career when he was here as a superintendent. And we go out there, and he's got this high pitchy voice. I don't know if you ever met him, but he's like, I go, this thing's starting to thin, and he goes, it's nothing. I mean, this thing's almost been dead before, and I wouldn't worry about it. Why would you worry about this right now? So it was kind of a laugh. Just don't worry about it. Everything's okay. And he was right. Yeah, did it thin down a little bit. It was a badly built green. We've now since rebuilt it, not because of that, but because we changed the hole. And we don't have those issues anymore. But it was one of those great. And he just had to just relax. Everything's going to be okay. He also told me something that I've instilled in a lot of people. When in doubt, do nothing. When in doubt, do nothing. Might be the best lesson that you could learn because you want to fix. You want to fix. You want to fix. Like right now, we have some wet willed areas because right now we're at 30. I just doing a board report, 34 inches. We average for the year 38 to 39 inches. Right now, we're halfway through the year, and that's where we're at. Last 2 years, we were a drought. We did great in a drought. But, when we get all these rains and it's 100 degrees, if it's 85 degrees, nothing bothers, nothing problem. But we had 5 days over 100. We had 3.5 inches of rain, 3.6 to be exact. And then we went to mid to upper 90s again for another 7 days. And so you get some wet wilt, you get some scald, you get some different things. And so you're wanting to fix it. You're wanting to do something, right? And everyone in the area that's dealing with the same things. But okay, sometimes you can put it backwards. Sometimes you can, put a solid tine in it and put it backwards. So keep the sprays up, do whatever you need to do, and just sometimes, when in doubt, do nothing. And there's a lot of that going on during the summer with us every year, depending on the situation. It rained 4 inches last night. The grass is, should we mow? No, when in doubt, let's back off. Let's raise heights. We have to raise heights to levels we've never raised before because we just keep scalping. So he taught a lot of lessons in how to treat people. I think I was like that. I always treat people well. I think I do. I hope I do. And that's the other thing that he did, with us. And there's so many guys like Pete Wendt that said, Kinlock, and then he's at Congressional right now. Marlon Ewing. There's Mike King that's at Army Navy. Arlington. There's these guys that are out there that went through. And when he was here, guys that went through my, program as they were assistants for me, like Stephen Britton, who's at Chevy Chase, or, Andrew Robertson's at Washington Golf and Country Club. And some of these guys are out there, Joe Betcher's at Army Navy Fairfax. They got to know him and they got to get the good feeling of just a great family environment. So I think that's what was great and so important. And that's why I felt even more in love when I got here of the environment. And I think that's important.
I had a small world moment with Glenn a couple of years ago. I was at his current club. A buddy of mine's a member out there, and we're sitting down in their men's grill having a beer. And Glenn sits down with us, and we start talking. He's like, "Wait a minute, Laurent, Terry and Terry." So he and my parents are really good friends and talked a lot. Yeah, so it's really funny. And that club is a perfect fit for that relaxed family environment that you're talking about. So
it's great. He just got an honorary membership given to him at RTJ. So
did he really?
Yeah, he's gonna be here at the end of the year, or no,
awesome.
And then he comes back for member. So we're really excited. He's got a place in West Virginia. His family still lives out here. So when he does retire, I don't know if he'll ever retire. It seems like he's going, but
that's
he's
awesome.
got a place. He's got a home here to play with the place he built, which is great.
Yeah. So we see, along those lines, we see some superintendents make that jump into the general manager role. What do you think are the attributes of a superintendent that make them good general managers?
I think they're the best general managers. No offense to other general managers who've been in the food and beverage industry or pro. I mean, I guess if you worked at a hotel and you worked around a lot of people, then okay, you come in with those goods. And what I mean those goods is the people skills, how to talk to people. When you're a superintendent, depending on where you're at, okay, on a large scale, small scale, you could be working with the guy that has substance abuse and lives in the mountains, right? He's on, whether it's marijuana, drugs, or whatever, drinks every night or tries to drink on the job or whatever. You could be dealing with a guy like that, right? That has doesn't have much to I wouldn't say live for, but just it doesn't have much in life. To the guy that has 2 private jets, and is a member at the club. So, and also your crews usually, like our crew during the height of the season, is at 40. So you're managing 40 people, right? Nothing against pros, nothing against anybody else, but it's a larger amount of people, and you're dealing with a diverse group of people. And I think that's what helps. And you're usually dealing with the lion's share of the budget, on most golf clubs, maybe not country clubs so much. It's the people skills, I think, that you get as superintendents, and not everyone's made the same, right? But Glenn is one of those guys, and not everyone could be a GM. He at one point when he was here, he's like, hey, what's your thoughts? If I ever move on or retire, you could take the GM position. I said, no. I love what I do. I think I'm good at what I can do. Sometimes you don't feel like you're good at what you do, but I feel comfortable. And then also, not that you can hide away from members, but you don't have to be up there. And it's not like, well, Susie poured the wine, this much when it should have been that much in the glass, or this caddy, Johnny, left the putter in another one. Now you got to run around. Those are all small things that you'd probably make my head pop, right? We already got enough things to deal with out here. Those little things like that and so I don't ever see myself doing that, but it takes a special person. He never saw himself ever going back to being a superintendent. He loves it. And so he found his new passion. So his passion was being a superintendent. He still has that mindset. It's funny how quickly you lose it. He was out for a while. He'd come down to the chem shit. What's that? What's that? Like within 3 years, he's half the chem shit's different than what he's used to spraying it. And so anyway, so I think they could be potentially the best, but there's always bad seeds out there. But Glenn, God, if you could put that at every place, God, he makes everyone better. He really does.
So you talked a little bit about some of the lessons we learned on the golf course, and last couple episodes we've talked a lot about patience. I know you just talked a little bit about that, with sometimes not knowing what to do nothing, and that goes back to just having to wait it out sometimes. Are there any lessons that you've learned on the golf course or through your career that's really, really helped you kind of make it to the next level?
So we're fighting this battle right now. We're our own worst enemy, is what we are. Mechanical damage is, when you get wet, everything's exposed when things are wet, right? Everything's exposed when things are super dry. And we're never, ever in the perfect window all the time, right? So you're always dealing with the extreme of this, the extreme of that. And we're always causing the problems. Whether it's a corner where, we have squared off greens, we squared off all the greens, got rid of all the columns. I mean, if the guys could hear me right now, they'd all be nodding their head. Jesus, this morning I go, hey, our cleanup mower went through that corner of the green. And since we went through the corner, we got corners now on greens and square front. It doesn't have a mix. It's on native clay, right? So it wants to wear down quicker, right? We just keep applying more and more and more pressure. We walk mow some areas on fairways because we can have very compacted. Everyone could say they have bad soils. I don't want to hear it from anybody because we do have the worst soils. We did an irrigation project. We spent over $300,000 in the rock of this place. And that's just trench lines, right? Over $300,000 in the rock. Anytime you try to dig in, you're going straight through rock, hard rock, shale, whatever it might be. So I'm constantly putting rocks in the back because they're just popping up everywhere. And you can find it, next to a fairway, a rock. You need dynamite to get it out. So our soils are bad, heavy clay. So, you have to be careful and, in some of these areas. So we start early in the season, walk mowing some, tight bunker areas near on fairways just to try to reduce our mechanical damage. I mean, we've damaged turf trying to just mow grass during wet weather. So the lessons are, and I've said this, hurt it in the spring, suffer through the summer. Hurt it in the spring. Okay, it's okay to have wilt. We don't get scared of wilt. Okay, we get scared of hard wilt. If you have hard wilt, which I don't know if you guys know what hard wilt is, I'm sure you do. When it turns black or it turns like a purple that doesn't react to water, does not react at all to water, that means you smoked it. And that means it's gone. And now it will come back. It will take a couple weeks or whatever. Then it's got to use all its carbohydrate reserves, all its sugars to grow that. So what does that do? That reduces your roots. So now your root system goes from here to here. And now, if you do that in May, which sometimes it happens, we go crazy. We don't even turn the water on. We can go to 3 on the TDR or Pogo, right?
Wow.
But there's a level that you can't go too far. You get up to the 90s. That's when all those 3s start wilting quick. Anyway, with that being said, is you hurt it then, you're going to struggle all through summer. And I teach that, preach that. We still do it every year. We still go to hard will. How do we miss that? How do we miss that? Not on a large scale. So those are, I think, the keys is setting yourself up. And then once you get through the summer and you limp through, I always say, well, it's always May through the middle of September. Everyone thinks you get through August, you're good. It's the middle of September before things just don't want to wilt. It's one of those things that if you don't get to it in an hour, it's going to be dead. Once you get to September 15th, if you don't get to it within the next 2 days, then it might be dead. So there's the pace doesn't need to be the same, and you can let it go for a little bit longer and enhance playability.
So how much have you seen that shift? I mean, I was just kind of in your neck of the woods earlier this week, and I think I was talking to a guy who said it was mid-October last year until they, could really see that shift. Are you seeing things move back a little bit more?
No, so for us, it really does. I like there's more people that lose grass in September sometimes than all of summer. They let their guard down. They let their guard down. And I preach it. You talk about how you keep managing. Preach it, preach it, preach it. Say it, say it, say it. And sometimes, I'd say, I always say the definition of insanity is saying the same thing over and over and over on the radio, and no one does it, right? I mean, that's a problem, right? So, or doing the same thing, expecting different results. We all know that saying, but it's usually right around 50 now. Back in 2018, we got hit with some tropical depressions, and we got gray leaf spot in our ryegrass, which, by the way, I want to get rid of all ryegrass and go to HGT, which I've been working with since 2014. And the HGT bluegrass doesn't have a blemish on it. Anything that we have rye out there during that heat just checked out. Not all, but a lot of low-lying areas. But that was almost till October. That year was almost till October before we got out of the woods. It was weird. The whole month of September was like as hot and humid as this. And we just cut out the gray leaf spot, moved on, everything was good. We really didn't go through much of a hiccup. But for the most part, it always is that 15th that it seems, it's not that day, but somewhere around there. It's just the nighttime temps get a little bit cooler. And, dry conditions are never really good too, by the way. When you have no roots and you get that beautiful day when you walk outside, you say, oh my God, this is a gorgeous day. Turf's going to heat up in August. It's going to heat up in the middle of September or beginning of September till you get to those lower sun angles. The further you get away from, June 21st, the longest day of the year, is the better it gets.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to ask you, Scott, busy job, busy guy. You guys have a lot going on. You don't seem like somebody who snaps when something goes wrong, but we all get frustrated. We all get to our breaking points. What do you do when you get to that point where you feel like you've had enough?
So my assistants have heard it before. I always start with "I love you," and I always end with "I love you." I love you guys, right? But it goes back to what I said. I asked this to happen because we're fearful of damage, right? And it's not getting done. And I understand that. Oh, we just missed it one time. No, 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 no. You miss it one time, two times. There's a result that can happen, cause and effect that happens later on. So I'm trying to guard against what I know is right because I know this golf course, right? I'm around this golf course every day. It's bringing them in and trying to teach them what I want, what we need. I always say to them, I know what good looks like. I know what good looks like. I don't want to be good. I want to be great. And I don't want you guys to be good. I want you to be great. So we have to go through these hardships of what it might be. Look, we got some damaged turf out there. I've been very honest about it. Is everyone calling, the papers and saying, no, it's just some swales and some uglies here and there from environmental conditions that we couldn't control. And that's what I told the guy. I said, we can't control that. Control what we can control, right? Control, that is, not mowing over a spot that's starting to thin. Let's bump away from that, cover that with a board or whatever it might be so we're not stepping on it. Stop applying pressure to the same spots that are struggling. So those are the things that we can fix. We can't fix Mother Nature being 5 days, 100 degrees or 3.5 inches of rain and then back to upper 90s and you start getting scalded and wet wilt. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can physically do. You could sit there and cry if you want to, but that's not going to help either. So, but I don't take it. I don't have a dog that I kick. I have two dogs. I do have two dogs, but I don't kick them. I don't go home and yell at the wife. I do get frustrated. There's no time. There's no doubt about that. There's times where I've snapped. I got a few friends that see me snap at other things besides work. But I don't snap. It's not an ugly. It's not a good looking thing when I do snap. But it's very rare that I do snap. I'm always trying to take a deep breath. The other thing that I do, and I did this with sports when I was coaching, you get a parent request or a parent thing or a kid or whatever it is. The 24-hour rule. I live by that 24-hour rule. If it's got to be addressed right away, it's got to be addressed right away. I'll give you an example. One of my assistants went to a concert the night before. This is a long time ago. He went in the morning. I go in the morning. I kind of on weekends dip in and out. I live 5 miles away, so I can just jump back here. So I'm like, I can't get in touch with him. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. So I come back out here and we're lit up like a Christmas tree. So I start turning on heads. I got the hose. I'm watering. And finally, he comes in, right? He'd fallen asleep because he'd been out late the night before for a concert. He came in my office as I was running something on the computer, getting ready to go back out. And he comes in and I go, hey, and he goes, hey, and I go, oh, let's not talk. Let's not talk. I got it under control. Go home. Just go home. Go home. I don't want to talk. Well, no, I want to, nope. I'm going to say the wrong thing. You might say the wrong thing. Let's just give it till tomorrow. Let's not. And it was the best thing for us. I love the guy to death. It was the best thing for us. He obviously knew he messed up. Okay. I was ready to literally kick in a door, beat someone up, do whatever, before he got here. Calm down enough that he got here because I got it under control, right? And it made the smart decision to say, let's wait till talk to tomorrow. And that is the one thing I think that helps. If you don't react immediately, right? And I do, trust me, we do. If you can do the 24-hour rule, just give it 12 hours, something, so that you can think and rethink. You do it with text. Someone pisses you off on a group text or whatever, you read it. All right, not going to do it. Not going to send it. 24-hour rule, I think it works with sports, works with teaching, and works in any industry out there.
That is huge. That's a great rule. I'm sure there's been the time though where, mess up something once, twice, 3 times, whatever. You've probably gotten to the point over your career where you've had to let some people go. What's that process, and kind of when do you draw the line?
If someone gets let go here, they really are, well, I want maybe 2 in my lifetime. So I don't want to call them out, and I don't want to offend them now. So, but
Sure.
if you get to that point, there's a huge, huge, huge problem. There's a lot of discussions before that, like, let's say just watering. I don't want watering. I always guard against water because of heat and wet wilt and boiling and scald and all that stuff. I've boiled a plant before. Assistants have boiled a plant where the plant actually is exploded under a microscope. You can see it. So, when I say don't water, I had one assistant one time that, he's now in the vendor industry. He kind of went from assistant to that. Most go to superintendent. Anyway, and I went up to him. I said, you're either defiant or you're stupid. Which one is it? I don't, at this point, I don't know, because I just told you 2 minutes ago not to water and you turn the heads back on. So what is it? None of them are good. There's no good answer. Just tell me you're stupid. Tell me you're defiant. You hate me. You want to do whatever you want to do. But that guy, that individual was not fired. He was a great guy. But, this sometimes comes to that hard kind of offensive conversation you have because nothing's changing. You got to look. I'm not the expert. I'm relying on these guys. I've been here the longest. Okay, I'm the most seasoned, so I do know something. So just listen, and I might get it wrong. Okay, and you can come up and go, oh, you got it wrong. But just listen to me. And if you listen to me and then I'm wrong, then the only person I can yell at is myself, or the only person I can be mad at is myself.
Is it more so if someone gets to that point where they are relieved, is it more because of cultural fit and maybe, being a cancer within the team versus making a mistake around, from an agronomic standpoint?
So I'll tell, and this is again, I went through a period of time where I didn't have people come through the farm system, right? We had to hire outside, and they just don't get it. And whether it's my fault or their fault, I mean, we both failed each other, right? We did, and none of them got let go, right? But they moved on, and I was happy that they moved on. And you get recommendations from friends. This guy's great, blah 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 blah. So we went through a period of 5 years or so where it just wasn't comfortable. It didn't feel right. Going down to the shop didn't feel right. Looking at them just didn't feel right. Talking to them just didn't feel right. So, and I think everyone goes through those, different personalities and all that stuff, and you're trying to make them successful. And look, I'll help them along the way for the rest of their life too, by the way. Okay. It just didn't work here, and they were not fired. Again, I might be only one has been fired here. I've asked someone to leave.
That's great. Yeah.
You got to go find another job. But only one has been fired here, and that was early on. So to be that, I just don't have much experience for that. But I had tough, like you're talking about,
Yeah.
tough conversations because the culture doesn't work. I don't want someone that's down there that's a Debbie Downer. I want to see smiles. I know people don't like smiling. I'm maybe a big pain in the ass, but I'm like, every morning when I go in there, when I see them, like, are you guys going to smile today? When are you guys going to start smiling? I mean, you want, and I tell my kids all the time, and they're pretty good smilers. They should be smiling. And smiling opens up so many doors for people, makes people feel comfortable. And in this crazy environment and world that we live in, a crazy profession at times, you got to smile and laugh at something, right? If not, you're going to cry sometimes, right? When it's raining at 100 degrees.
Well, it sounds like you guys have a great culture at the course, and that obviously starts from you. We got to talk about your tournament experience because you guys you've hosted a number of them, but Solheim in 24, and then you had the Live event last year. Sorry, this year, right? Am I wrong about that?
This year, yeah.
Yeah, it was Live Virginia 2025. So what changes for you guys when you host a big tournament? Do you bring in a lot of extra people, or are you really beefing up? How's that look?
So, we did two President's Cups, or for me, we've done four, but I've done two as superintendent. Then we did the Tiger Woods Quick Loans, which is invitational, which was awesome. And then we recently, in a 9-month span, we did two tournaments, pretty big tournaments, not U.S. Open tournaments, but pretty big tournaments. I mean, the Ladies Solheim Cup is the biggest ladies event in the world besides the World Cup, the Ladies World Cup, and maybe the Olympics, soccer. So that was awesome. That was just a great. What I wanted to do is I wanted to overfeed them, I wanted to overdress them, and I had fun, all day, every day. Just I bought a bunch of cigars. So everybody likes cigars. They could smoke while they're working in the afternoon, right? We had all the game center. Vendors came in. Superintendents came in. They smoked me out of cigars. Everyone just had a great time, right? And so in the food, Peter Millar, everyone said the best swag bags that they've gotten because we spent over $90,000 on just clothes, right?
Oh man!
So, and it was also a reunion of a lot of people that worked for me in the past through the J1. So there was 12 different countries represented. They all brought their team or their club flags, and we hung those, and then all their country flags and their colleges. We hung those in the tent. You've seen
That's
those
awesome.
events. It was really, really good. Mo from Oakmont. He's the one that set up the whole Oakmont thing. He loved that.
Yeah.
So he was gonna do it. I don't know if you saw. There's some pictures. They had some country flags in there. It looked really good at Oakmont. I went to the tournament. Didn't go down to the shop. But so that event we did it with like 105, 110, which a lot of them were divot guys in the evening and people, women, and I had a lot of women here too, by the way, because Lara, who worked for me in 2016, she's went over and became the superintendent for the Ryder Cup in Italy, right? Marco Simone, and I went over to see her after the Solheim Cup. So I was over in Europe for 10 days, did the Solheim Cup, observation, with board members, and then went over there and helped her out, doing some stuff. I put those pictures, I think I did on TurfNet, or not TurfNet, Twitter. Anyway, so a lot of people from over there got an intern last year from that experience there. So a lot of people came over, 12 different countries represented. A lot of people that worked for me in the past came back, which was awesome. A lot of people that had worked for me in the past sent their assistants or their interns over. So there was this big relationship, great times. I even danced to a song in the bunker because they made me. All the Spaniards did that. So it was.
I gotta find video of that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think I put it on Twitter.
Oh, beautiful.
And so it was great. And look, I don't care about embarrassing myself. I stopped caring a long time ago. So that was awesome. That was great weather, great everything. The only thing they talk about is the bus screw up on Friday. That wasn't us. Okay, sorry, that wasn't us. That we had nothing to do with that. Besides that, everything was just great. It was a great tournament, and the ladies were awesome. And Stacey Lewis talked to us how she wanted to set up. She, everyone wants to go quick green speeds. Well, and we are usually quick. She explained why. I didn't have an ego. She wants to win this thing. She won the thing. And we did exactly what she told us to do and asked us to do. And we she wanted 12 in a step. Give her 12 in a step every day. It was what she wanted. And she was thankful afterwards. So that event was just awesome, right? Great feeling. And then we heard rumors. Well, I was involved in a lot too about Live. And, Live is polarizing, right? I always felt, and I said this to the powers that be that we're talking to them, that I really feel that we should have been the first Live event that was live, branded live plus 18 holes. They don't want to get rid of live. All right. So they're not good. And they want 54 holes, 54 live. So live plus 18 holes and do a 72 hole event. Brilliant. Brilliant. They should have listened to me, but they didn't. And that's okay. But we hosted that. Now, I didn't know what that was going to be like going into it. You're all of a sudden you're considered evil, because you're doing a live event. I mean, come on. We're all human beings. We're all golfers. You got some of the best golfers in the world in that event. Yeah, is it different with the shotgun? Well, guess what? The shotgun was awesome for us, and but in the music, I love playing with music. You know that. I love playing with music. But in the broadcast, I'm not, don't care for it too much. So anyway, I didn't know what it was going to be like. Work with Par Five. That's the managing company that did all the setup and all that stuff. They were great. The live people were great. And I hope that because we are a golf course that's hosted some major stuff, the first four Presidents Cups, the Quicken Loans, PJ Tour stop, Metal Play stop, and then the Solheim Cup, that hopefully everyone says, all right, it's not afraid of it, and say, all right, let's do this. I do it again. I thought it was great. The people we work with are great. They're not bad people. I don't, everyone wants to joke about it. I saw something on Instagram. It went viral because we had to pop a bubble. I had to pop a bubble, and it looked like I was just pointy, but I had just popped a bubble when they put it on Instagram and Twitter and all that other stuff. But someone says, "Oh, shocker! It's a live event." The Saudis. This is normal for them to have a deer run across. We had a deer run across the green, and almost took out a guy, which would have been awesome if that.
Oh boy,
that would have been a good clip.
Oh, that would have been awesome. But it's like everyone's got an opinion because everyone, these people just they sit in their room and all they want to do is just criticize people all the time, and they no one can say anything to them because they're sitting in their room, doing nothing. But it was awesome. The one thing I learned out of that with live is I try to do it with less because I thought we could do it with less, and we did fine. We did it with about 50 works crew of about 40, mid-season, and we weren't quite 40. And I got a couple volunteers, which was great. Assistants that I have, friends I have, they came, and we had just a great time. But I think we need to do it with an extra, I think 75 is probably the number to make it a little bit easier. But, I got to host a tournament in the perfect time of the year to host a tournament. All the other tournaments I've ever hosted, you have to get through the summer. Right now, if we had a tournament in September, I'd be white knuckle with a wet will, and a few swales that we have, and like, because you got to get through the summer, right? You got to get through all that stuff. Where we hosted the Quicken Loans ended August 2nd. So this was the first time we had a tournament when grass wants to live, right? It was awesome. So, we looked good. We presented well. That's important. The membership, for the most part, was very happy. I would say the majority was. They were proud of the golf course. And that's what makes me the most proud, is if they are proud of their golf course that they own.
God, so I was going to ask if there were any big differences between hosting, a major tour event versus a live event.
So, yeah, there is. There's not the early mornings, right? Because when you have a split tee time from 1 and 10, and it starts at 7, or let's say 6:30 during the middle of summer, you got to start at 4:30. So we started later, which was good. No one likes to work in the dark. Everything bad happens in the dark. We all know that. Every superintendent, I don't care how many lights you put on it. You don't see everything. So we were able to do that. The tee times were, I think, I can't remember if it's 8 or 8:30 for practice rounds. The one thing that was really different was the social media aspect, the influencers. There were so many influencers out there that actually, were on the golf course all day long. They were doing different. They did. I don't know if you saw the Instagram. They played the par 5, the fastest they ever have. They had a guy in the fairway, guy in the approach.
Oh, that was cool. That was really cool. Yeah.
They had a lot of that, which was cool that we had to work around. So that was, at first I was like, what are we doing here? Why are we working around some guy that's on social media? Well, actually ended up being really cool. The duels match that they did, there was great commentary there. So that was different. And then the shotgun was cool. You literally could get everything done and don't need the big crowd of 100 volunteers or 100 people to get it done. So, and I think they do it cool. I've heard about it. Maybe, hopefully Liv listens to this on the Liv plus 18, plus the hybrid that they should do is maybe on the last day, have tee times and everyone tee off at number 1. So your first 2 days, you kind of scramble people around, and then the last day you play 1 through. What's nice about it is if you're a fan, you come out here, you got a 5 hour window and you can see all the golfers you want, right?
Hmm.
You go to Oakmont, you could be there from 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, still watching golf, right? Trying to find your golfers. It does condense that, but everybody was great. It was a great atmosphere. Everyone was happy. It was a little bit younger crowd, yeah. Everyone thinks that everyone's wearing cut off, white beater shirts and a hat backwards and jeans everywhere. That's not the case. It's a golf crowd. It's a younger golf crowd. But everyone's having a great time, and everyone in the area that went to it, and the friends and people I didn't know to members were really surprised how awesome it was and how good of a time they had.
So GM may not be in your future, but it sounds like tournament director might be
Potentially.
a path there.
Potentially. So what about the Tiger Woods Invitational? Did you get to meet the big cat?
So during I got to meet all those guys during President's Cup. I got to meet him. I did not meet him. I said hello to him real quick at the Tiger Woods Invitational. Met other guys. Ricky Fowler ran into him and then ran him in Congressional afterwards. He loved the place. I made a point to talk to anybody like Ernie Els, Vijay Singh that was here for the President's Cup. They came in early to play practice rounds. Just introduced myself. Said hey, been here since then. Welcome back. And they had some kind words because we had done some changes. We did a bunker renovation with Kyle Phillips. We've done a lot of work with Kyle Phillips. It's made this place just better and better and better. And dry range, short game, all of 18, all of one is hit now. And it's just so much he's touched. And every bunker obviously he touched and every fairway line he's touched now. So and them really liking it. Like I think VJ said the mistake on the lake is what he said in 94 or 96 or something like that. I probably don't want to bring that up again and make that newsworthy, but it was bold and there was just some stuff that had to be changed, right? And not that just wasn't someone's cup of tea, right? He was like, the changes are unbelievable. So he went from, and I probably should have called the newspaper so when he got out and said, hey, remember this article? Now he thinks the place is awesome. Why don't you go talk to him again, right?
Yeah.
So I think we've done, over the years, we've made this place better. We've enhanced the lake, opened up the lake even more. We were treated, you could even see the lake back then. So we've done so many different things. But back to that, I did meet him. I went to have lunch with Jack Nicklaus in the 2005 President's Cup, and then we went out and took a picture with him and Gary Player with my assistants that I have on the wall at home. It's great. And I sat down and had lunch, and Tiger Woods was literally watching Sports Center. And I walked through the front door, and he goes, "What's up?" I met him a couple times with "What's up," and that's it. Everyone else, like friends couples, are like, "Hey, Scott, what's going on?" Because a lot of those guys came out. Fred Funk. I don't think Fred Funk was that year. Maybe he was. They come out and grab my fishing poles and go fishing because we got 10-pounders out here in this lake.
Oh wow!
So, but the Quicken Loans was cool because Troy Merritt shot 18 under. We got a ton of rain. We got like 3 inches of rain that week that like literally set us backwards. It's fine. I'm not worried about. Still want to be 30 under, right? But
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't want to set records.
We want birdies. We want fun. We want fair. We want fun. We want all that stuff.
So you talked about it being kind of a reunion when you get to host these things. How special is it to be hosting some sort of big event and have all the people that worked for you, all your buddies come in and be able to share that experience with them?
It's great. It really is. And just having, superintendents come back and just observe and watch what's going on, that, they were assistants back in the day. And I think this place holds a special place in everyone's heart that's working here when you're working for Glenn Smickley and hopefully for me as well. I've been here now 25 years, going 26 as superintendent. Glenn was here for 10, he was on property for 20-ish or so. That's right. Yeah, I started in 91. That's not right. I've got the math wrong. But I started here in 94. I've been here 31 years. So I've seen so many people come and go, so many people have babies, right? Have families, and just, I'm so proud of them, what they've turned out to be. But for them to come back and see the place that they worked at and, struggled at, was sweating at times, went through difficult times, went through the glory, went through all the different stuff, the good times. It's so cool to see. And, that So-On Cup was awesome. So if we ever did a live event, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe we're the black sheep now. I hope we're not. I hope we can do other tournaments. Going forward with whatever it might be. But it is cool when they come back and they really, really appreciate it. And they miss the place. I mean, This is a place that I've never taken for granted in my whole career because every day I drive out on number 10. I've said this in other podcasts. I drive my truck from the shop. The shop is down at number 9. I drive out and I'm right on Lake Manassas. I'm looking right down the gut of Lake Manassas. And whether it's snow on the ground, whether it's frosty in the morning, whether it's raining, whatever, it's still gorgeous. And that's one thing about this. It's an awesome golf course. It's a well-designed golf course, and it's a beautiful golf course. So it never gets old. So those guys that come back, I always encourage them. You can always play. I mean, you're supposed to have a company. You can't have your own company. We do some. We do one a day. Those guys, I always let them go on a company. Come with your board members. Come with whatever. You're part of the family. You can go out there and play anytime you want. No one takes me up on it. Maybe once a year, twice a year they come.
No, my clubs are in the car. I'll be there.
Yes, definitely.
We're running short on time here, Scott. This has just absolutely flown by, but this is your episode. We'd love to give you the floor if there's anything you want to chat about here before we let you take off.
I could rant. I could get pissed off about all the Bermuda kill that everyone had in the whole area this year, but no, I don't have much to say. I mean, if I didn't say it already, the great thing about this profession is it's a small fraternity, right? And and everyone's in it, to try to do good for their family, do good for their clubs. And the great thing is I surround myself with people. Yeah, we can be critical, we can joke on things and other people and ourselves, but for the most part, we're all in this together. We're all trying to do, the best for our membership and for our career at all times. And we're not trying to step on anybody else to get ahead. Obviously, I haven't. I've been staying here forever, just trying to keep my job. But it is a great fraternity, and we do a lot of things. Going to the show, playing in the golf tournament, playing the local association meetings. It's so much fun because again, there's a lot of pain in the DC market, right? In other markets too as well. That's why I think we're so close. That's why you don't see a lot of turnover in this area because everyone communicates, everyone tries to help each other. No one's, I've been in the business for a long time. I still ask questions, still call Steve McDonald on little stupid stuff that I know, but I want to make sure that I'm right? Or I call, Pete, Steve, and Dave Cars, who used to be at Burning Tree. He's now retired. Anybody, all old assistants, like, what are you doing here? I'm just planting some Bermuda grass because of some winter kill. So that looks beautiful up there. What do you do to get that going? So you're never, ever too old or too smart to not learn things on a daily basis or a yearly basis. And you should always, not have an ego that you're afraid to pick up a phone to ask for some help or some guidance because, again, there's a lot going on. I ask my assistants for guidance and they're half my age right now, So I think it's a great profession. My son's in it. He's at Seminole. He's an assistant superintendent down there. I hope he does well, and I hope that more people get into it because it is a great and it's a rewarding when you get it right. There's nothing better. I mean, I guess it's better if you're hitting the last shot, a free throw in a basketball game where you're a rock star, on the stage, singing whatever, like Jimmy Buffett singing Margaritaville, whatever. All that stuff is great. I mean, I know we don't have the crowd cheer, but they're cheering for you when you get it right and you're producing something at a high level, or you get on TV or lucky enough to host a tournament. I've been very blessed. I mean, I guess I did the right things in the right place at the right time to get what I got and to be able to host tournaments as many as I have and to get that to go on TV and get a call from, even the live event, PJ Tour official. I guess I'm careful, but, watch to see what our TJ looked like. He's like, God, it looks so gorgeous. It looks beautiful. And those are the rewards that you want. I don't need positive, comments all the time, but it's nice when you got it right and people are happy about their golf course. And that's what it's all about.
I met your son a couple of weeks ago, I believe. He's got his hands full down there right now.
There's a lot going on down there.
Ooh, man. The biggest pile of sand I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, exactly.
Well, this has been phenomenal, Scott. So much great advice, and you're definitely somebody that we've really been looking forward to having on. So we can't thank you enough for doing this.
Yeah, this has been great, Scott. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It was awesome. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate all this.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to connect again back in Orlando this year. I actually just got this yesterday. Just finally came in. Orlando 2023, the old silver plate.
What is it? From 2023 just came in?
Yeah, I know.
I got my 2024 before you.
Well, make sure you guys email me so I have all your contacts. I have yours. Adam, I want to make sure I got yours. Just send me your email so I got all that contact so I can put you in my phone. So, all
Sounds
right.
great.
Okay,
We'll
we'll
do.
do.
All right, guys. Thanks, man. I appreciate everything.
All
Okay,
right.
take
Take
care,
care,
All
Scotty.
Scotty.
right, see you, man. Bye.
See you. That
I
was
know
great.
Darren was always the first white whale, but Scotty was always a guy that's like, we got to get him on. I had so much
Yeah.
fun with him. And he kept it pretty reserved too. We're like, get him out on the golf course. That's a different guy.
Yeah. I haven't had much interaction with them, so that was awesome to spend some time chatting with him. What that was a phenomenal interview. So I mean, again, we keep talking about it. Some of these interviews where you just blink and an hour's up. It's like, man, that was certainly the case. There were so many. I know on his questionnaire he talked about pranks and all sorts of stuff. We weren't even able to really dive into that much. So
No, yeah.
no, that was good. And
Yeah.
I apologize. I didn't give you the opportunity to ask any of those last questions. I just saw we were like
It's all
11:01.
good.
I'm like, oh hey.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
I got to get some work done as well, and then I got to take my son to the F1 movie here at 12:45. So,
Oh, I heard it's
yeah,
so good. I heard it's
yeah,
so good.
I
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, I was supposed to take him last night, but I didn't get home until about a little before 8 o'clock, and they
Oof.
didn't have any movie times after that. So take him to a little matinee. 20% save 20%.
There you go. That'll be
Yeah,
fun. That'll be
yeah,
fun.
absolutely,
We got bringing
absolutely.
Will to the course tomorrow. I think we're
Nice,
7 Saturdays in a row now. He's come with me. He's just
awesome.
all into golf. Like, can we go to the driving range? Can we go to the mini putt place? Can we
Love
go to
it.
the golf course? I'm like, okay, sounds good. The other day he was
Love
going
it.
to bed. He goes, can I have my putter in my room? I was like, what? He's like, can I have my putter in my room? I was like, maybe. We can work on that. You get him a little putting mat for his bedroom.
Heck yeah. That's awesome. I love it. Love to hear
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. He's a little golfer, which is
You got the
fun.
hockey stick too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got a little mini
Okay,
stick
I
set up in
figured.
the basement for sure. But I keep telling my buddies about it and stuff, and other guys that have kids. I don't know if there's a better place for a young kid. Going
No,
out to the
absolutely
golf
not.
course on a Saturday morning when the sun's coming up, there's animals everywhere. You're seeing work done. You're with your dad. Like he's gonna look back on that one day and be so grateful for it. And it's tough.
Absolutely.
Like I'd rather sleep in on a Saturday. So it's a bit of a grind, but I like, just getting to talk to Paul about the fact that he grew up, or
Oh
Paul
yeah.
B, growing up, going to the course with his dad and the relationship they had and everything. I would love to be able to have something like that with my son, whether he works in the industry or we work in the same type of job or not. Just having that, growing up and doing that stuff together, it's very important.
Absolutely. Yeah. We talked to a couple guys that those are some of their fondest memories were going out on the golf course with their dad. So
Yeah.
definitely some of mine as well. There's no question. That's
Hmm.
special.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and a great skill to learn as a kid, right? People that
Yeah.
didn't learn golf as a kid, they struggle when they're an adult. So you can learn a lot of different things, but that game of golf, you start when you're young, you can play forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's keep reminding my children it's a great asset to be able to understand the game of golf, whether you stay in it in some way, shape, or form as a profession, or whether you just go and play golf with clients or whatever it may be. It's a huge skill.
Hmm. No, we're very fortunate to be in this industry. We've all found it, worked hard, stayed in it, and now it's all starting to pay off for a lot of people that we're talking to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be cool to do a father son episode at some point.
Heck yeah, it
Bring them
would.
on together, two guys that are
Yeah,
working in it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
that would be neat, especially
Mhm.
if they were working together.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I wonder if that even exists right now. Superintendent assistant combo, father son.
It does. I'm trying to think. I mean, I know Chad's son, Drew, he wasn't an assistant, but he was an intern with them for several years.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, there are definitely some. I mean, I know Fort Wayne Country Club, the Shallow Foes were superintendent assistant, and then when the older one retired, Junior came
Yeah,
in and took
took
over.
over.
So yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That would be fun.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Martin Diaz. What are the most common turf stresses throughout the year, and what are some good tips for helping manage them?
Awesome. That's a great question, Martin. Thank you for submitting. And Adam, again, thank you guys for having me on the show again. Obviously, I had to go out and do some data digging myself and looked at the USGA and some of those university pathology labs just to kind of see what those four main categories of turf stresses that you'd typically pop up every time of this time of year out there while you're managing. And of course, the first one, and really that's that category that a lot of people are dealing with, are just environmental stresses. And right now here in the Midwest, we're dealing with extreme humidity and heat. So certainly during the summer months, obviously that's a little bit different than when you're dealing with the cold and winter injury, which will be just around the corner potentially here in about 5 or 6 months. So managers tackle these, as you guys all know, with a lot of different things, whether that's syringing during the extreme heat on putting greens to help them just use evapotranspiration to cool themselves a little bit more, or even just pruning trees around those greens in areas where you need to get improved sunlight. And then just managing your moisture better too. There's so many different tools, whether it's wetting agents or soil amendments, just to help improve that soil capacity. That certainly can help you mitigate some of those environmental stresses that the turf grass is going to go through the summer. So that was the first grouping. The second one was disease, and obviously that's with, like I said, the high humidity that we're feeling here in the Midwest. That's obviously top of mind. My front yard looks like a pathologist's dream, if you will, from a brown patch perspective right now. So those, and obviously on a golf course, dollar spots a big active disease this time of year, with those nighttime temperatures being as high as they are and the humidity that we're working on. And again, a lot of today's superintendents are doing a great job of using predictive disease models to get ahead of these outbreaks, make sure they're using fungicide programs that are really looking on the proactive side versus being reactive to it. And that's definitely the best way to handle those disease pressures. And then if you look at the third grouping, kind of, again, another pestilence group, if you will, insects and nematodes this time of year are definitely something to consider, depending on where your area of location is. And then, another one that we really think about a lot here, especially like in the Kansas City, Midwest area this time of year, is the white grubs. And for us, typically the one that does the most damage is the southern mass chafer. And oddly enough, it's kind of that third instar, and typically it comes late August, a little bit later in the summer. And you've thought, hey, I put down my imidacloprid application back in June, and maybe even a Celiprin a little bit earlier, and how am I getting insecticide damage? But they come so late. It's just something that you really got to consider when you're picking an active ingredient, to make sure that you're going to get coverage the whole duration of when that insect may potentially be active. So that's the third one. And then the fourth and final, which again, superintendents are more than versed in this area. I'm just speaking for a lot of them. Is just dealing with the mechanical stress of having a golf course, or a turf grass surface this time of year. And that's things like compaction, certainly scalping, and again, all those cultural practices that you guys are on top of all year long to help mitigate those, whether it's aerification, sand top dressing, and then really just rotating that course traffic and your mowing patterns, are really all standard management tools that you guys are using day in, day out to help mitigate those stresses. But yeah, those are the top four. And again, I love to see superintendents adopting more and more technology to help manage those. So I know the USGA just released a new soil moisture probe, and there's a lot of different variations for TDR out there, and just the ability to test different hotspots on your course, or also working with some of the new biological products to help mitigate that stress in summer months, whether it's seaweed or humic acids, like we love to put into a lot of our products. Those are all the things that I think, as a turf manager, you got to think about implementing during these hot summer months. So yeah, that's a long and great meaty question, and certainly one that I love diving into a little bit this week, Adam.
Great tips, Tony. That's awesome. And we're very happy to have you here on the show. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons.